All right, folks, we are back, and our next unit is learning about special segments in a triangle. There are five, so we're going to jump on the first one here called a mid-segment. So the mid-segment of a triangle. And this is really pretty much the whole lesson right here on this slide. A mid-segment of a triangle is a segment that connects the midpoints of two sides of a triangle. So we can see in this picture that segment BD is the mid-segment, B is the midpoint of AC, D is the midpoint of AE. So again, a mid-segment connects the midpoints of two sides of the triangle. It is parallel to the third side, and its measurement is 1/2 of the third side. So we can see how we bisected both sides of the triangle. BD is parallel to CE, and BD equals 1/2 of CE. So there we have our mid-segment. So at that point, it just comes down to a little bit of practice. So number one, let's do purple here. UV and VW are mid-segments of the triangle, and we're asked to find UV and RS. So we work on one at a time. UV is a mid-segment. It is parallel to RT. So UV is parallel to RT. UV equals 1/2 of RT. We're looking for UV. We know RT is 90. So UV equals 45 inches. If we work with VW connects the midpoints of two sides. It is parallel to the third side and measures 1/2 of that third side. So VW is parallel to SR or RS. Same thing. I'm just going to name it the way the problem gave it to us. RS. VW equals 1/2 of RS. So VW is 57. That equals 1/2 of RS. So we multiply both sides by 2, and we get 114 inches for RS. For number 2, suppose UW is 81 inches. So UW, it's not in the picture, so we're going to draw it in. And that's 81. We're asked to find VS. Well, VS is also going to be 81. And here's why. UW equals 1/2 of ST. So that's 81 equals 1/2 of ST. So ST equals 162 inches. So this is 162. But they told us that V is a midpoint. When they told us UV is a mid-segment, they told us V is a midpoint. So that means SV and VT are congruent. We bisected ST. So, um, so V bisects ST. It's the midpoint. So we're going to take ST and divide it in 2, and that's going to give us SV. So 162 over 2 equals SV, which equals 81 inches. So we're just using our knowledge about a midpoint, that it bisects the segment, and the midsegment is half of the third side. It connects the midpoint of 2 sides and is half of the third side. So here we have our picture. We're just going to use a little algebra in these examples. So let's see number 1, AB and GJ. So I'm going to find those, AB and GJ. Using our knowledge about midsegments, AB equals 1/2 of GJ. And now we're going to substitute. 3x plus 8 equals 1/2. And GJ, they told us, is 2x plus 24. And then we're just going to solve for x and plug it back in. So 3x plus 8, we can distribute that half very easily. And we're going to solve for x. Since we were asked what is AB, we're going to take AB, which is 3x plus 8, and we're going to substitute. So we have 6 plus 8, and AB equals 14. Or actually, I'm going to leave those marks in the picture because I'm going to change colors. For number 2, AC and HJ. So in green, AC and HJ. I'm just going to move to the side here. For number 2, AC equals 1/2 of HJ. Well, AC is 3y minus 5. HJ, 4y plus 2. Let's just solve for y. So 3y minus 5. Again, distributing the half is very simple. They're even numbers, so they divide by 2 nicely. And y equals 6. Now, we're looking for HB in this question, but they didn't give us HB. HB is half of HJ. So if HB is half of HJ, then we can find HJ and then cut it in half. Because remember, B is a midpoint, so these segments were bisected. So if we find HJ, 4y plus 2, that's 4 times 6 plus 2. HJ is 26. Then HB is 13. In fact, if we plug 6 back in, we're going to find out AC is 13. All three of those segments are congruent. The midsegment is half of the third side. So AC is half of HJ. But HB is half of HJ. And JB is half of HJ. So all three of those little segments are congruent. And we will, in fact, see the same thing in the last example. Again, just kind of using the information, maybe in a different way. Let's take a look. So I'm going to go to another color here. Let's do this one in red. GH and BC. GH and BC. BC is the midsegment. So BC equals 1/2 of GH. BC equals 1/2 GH. Again, we're just going to solve for Z and plug it back into GH because that's all they asked for. So we can distribute that 1/2. Or in this case, I find it easier to multiply both sides by 2. Oh, sorry. So I'm going to multiply by 2. And I get 8Z minus 6, 7Z minus 1. Now that's just preference. It just means I avoided working with fractions or decimals. And I get Z equals 7. Since they asked for GH, that's 7Z minus 1. I have 7 times 7 minus 1 for 48. So our algebra skills made that question a little bit easier there. Okay. So there we have mid-segments in triangles. Let's do some more practice and we'll come back for the next special segment. Remember, there's 5.